Hello and welcome everyone to 11th episode of the 4 agreements. Today we are going to read about the third agreement, which is don't make assumptions. It sounds so simple, isn't it? If we reflect on our behaviors, our thinking, we'll realize that we all have tendencies to make assumptions about everything. And the problem with making assumption is that we believe they are true. And in today's episode, we will read about what Miguel has to tell us about how we make these assumptions, why we make them, and how it affects how we create drama around it. And when we decide ourselves to not make any assumptions, what changes we can bring, what quality we can bring to our day to day life. So let's start. Miguel, here he tells us that all the sadness and drama you have lived in your life was rooted in making assumptions and taking things personally. When we make assumption, we believe that it is true. We swear that they are real. We make assumptions about what others are doing or thinking. We take it personally and then we blame them, react by sending emotional poison with our words. That is why, whenever we make assumptions, we are asking for problems. We make an assumption, we misunderstand, we take it personally, and we end up creating the whole big drama for absolutely nothing. Here, he encourages us to take a moment to consider the truth in these statements. You may pause this podcast for a few moments before moving ahead. Moving ahead, he tells us we create a lot of emotional poison just by making assumptions and taking it personally. It doesn't stop there because we generally start gossiping about this assumption. If you remember, we read about gossiping being the way we communicate with each other in the dream of hell and transfer poison to one another. Because we are afraid to ask clarification, we make assumptions and believe we are right about that. Then we defend our assumptions and try to make someone else wrong. He says it is always better to ask questions than to make assumptions because assumptions set us up for suffering. The big mitote, the Maya, in the human mind creates a lot of chaos, which causes us to misinterpret everything and misunderstand it. We only see and we can only see what we want to see and hear what we want to hear. We don't perceive things the way they are. We have the habit of dreaming with no basis of reality. We literally dream things up in our imagination. Because we don't understand something, we make an assumption about the meaning of it. And when the truth comes out, the bubble of our dream pops and we find out it was not what we thought it was at all. Ahead, he gives an example. You are walking in the mall and you see a person you like. That person turns to you and smiles and then walks away. You can make a lot of assumptions just because of this one experience. With these assumptions, you can create a whole fantasy and you really want to believe this fantasy and make it real. A whole dream begins to form just from your assumptions, and you can believe, oh, this person really likes me, he smiled at me. In your mind, a whole relationship begins from that. Maybe you even get married in this fantasy land, but the fantasy is in your mind, in your personal dream. I believe these assumptions can go all the way in so many different directions. Just in this example, with such a simple interaction and experience. Miguel says ahead that often we make the assumption that our partners know what we think and that we don't have to say what we want. We assume they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. If they don't do what we assume they should do, we feel so hurt and say, "You should have known." And he gives an example relatable to everybody. He says that you decide to get married and you make the assumption that your partner sees the marriage the same way that you do. Then you live together and you find out this is not true. This creates a lot of conflict, but you still don't try to clarify your feelings about marriage. The husband comes home from work and the wife is mad, and the husband doesn't know why. Maybe it's because the wife made an assumption. Without telling him what she wants, she makes an assumption that he knows her so well that he knows what she wants, as if he can read her expectations, read her mind. Making assumptions in relationships lead to a lot of fights, lot of difficulties, lot of misunderstanding with people we supposedly love. This could be true to any relationship. We make assumptions that others know what we think and we don't have to say what we want. We believe that they are going to do what we want because they know us so well. And if they don't do what we want because we assumed that they knew, we say that how could he do that? He should have known. Again, we make assumption that the other person knows what we want. A whole drama is created because we make this assumption and then put more assumptions on top of it. It's very interesting how human mind works. We have the need to justify everything, to explain and understand everything. And why do we do that? We do this in order to feel safe. For this, it doesn't matter if the answer is correct. It matters if the answer itself makes us feel safe. And this is why we make assumptions. If others tells us something, we make assumptions. And if they don't, even then, we make assumptions to fulfill our need to know, to replace the need to communicate. We make all sorts of assumptions on things what we hear because we don't have the courage to ask questions. These assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because, in a way, we are made up that way, domesticated that way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want or how we feel. When we believe something, we assume we are right about it to the point that we will destroy a relationship in order to defend our position, he says. He is coming to a very important point here and telling us that we make the assumption that everyone sees the life the way we do. We assume that others think the way we think, feel the way we feel, judge the way we judge, and abuse the way we abuse. This is the biggest assumption that humans make. And this is why we have a fear of being ourselves around others. Because we think everyone else will judge us, victimize us, abuse us, and blame us as we do ourselves. So even before others have a chance to reject us, we already have rejected ourselves. That is the way human mind works. We make assumptions not just about others, but also about ourselves. And this creates a lot of inner conflict. We think that I'm able to do this. We make that assumption, for instance, and we discover that we are not able to do it. We have overestimated or underestimated because we haven't taken time to ask ourselves questions and answer them truthfully. Perhaps we needed to gather more facts, we needed to learn more, or maybe we just needed to stop lying about ourselves, about what one truly wants. In the chapter ahead, he explains so wonderfully how, when we get into a relationship, assumptions shape our relationships. And we will read about it in the next episode. He also will explain us ahead how we can bring these unconscious habits to awareness, which transform our life in very simple steps. If you are enjoying this book and listening to this podcast, please do share the love ahead. Until next episode, love and light.